Well, guys, I was watching Road to 1%'s video yesterday, and he was like discussing how Wheat Waffles rating system has its merits, even though objective face raters are doing it to differentiate between like a 7 and an 8 and a 9. But he posits, additionally, on top of what Wheat Waffles says, he posits that uh, the face raters are wrong because nobody in real life rates Chico Lachowski and 8.5 or an 8 for that matter. Yes, and I agree that there are some guys out there absolutely trashing on Chico and rating him an 8. I I don't think that is really true. Chico is not an 8. Chico is like 8.5 to 8.75 in his best pictures, 8.8 if you are feeling that lucky or that generous. But yeah, not higher than 8.8. I would personally keep someone like a Jeremy Meeks above him, even. All right. So, other than that, he says that nobody thinks that clavicular is a 6.75 in real life. Now, again, I agree that some raters who rate clavicular 6.75 are only getting it right when, let's say, clavicular is bloated. All right. When he is not bloated, he is around a 7.2, something like that. So yeah, there is a degree of underrating, but it's not the way that Road to 1% claims that it is. A lot of these guys are rating half a point lower than they should. Like Face IQ is a very good example of rating everybody half a point lower than what their actual rating should be, right? Let's be clear about it. There is underrating in this community right now, and people have no idea what an actual 5 looks like because they're comparing people who are already a higher tier. And I think Cool Studio made a video on this, and he talked about how Pete Davidson is not a 4.75. Pete Davidson is far better looking than the average man out there. I mean, that's a fact. That is just a fact because the average man is kind of overweight, and the average woman is, well, quite a bit overweight, even further more overweight than the average man. This is just factual, guys. This is just factual. But the way Road to 1% says it, it's like women are rating those guys 10 out of 10 in real life. Women are rating Chico Lachowski 10 out of 10, Clavicula 10 out of 10, and we are just delusional if we are going to rate him 6.75 or 7.2 or rate Chico an 8.5 or something like that. Guys, it doesn't work like that. Let's be very real right here, right? Women might say to your face that they think you are a 10 out of 10, like if you are on that level of looks, but what they generally mean by that is that you are the best looking guy they have come across. You are not the most perfect guy they can imagine, right? But it's the opposite case with women. When men see a lot of times when men are rating like a very average woman, even according to them, that is the most perfect woman that can ever be. No man on earth. I mean, all those Wattpad memes came crashing into my brain. I'm having a fucking mental breakdown. All right. Or it's always those 8 feet tall werewolves with vampire Chad faces that are the 10 out of 10 in women's books. Let's get this clear right now. Right? Let's get this clear. And this is also a lie that height has diminishing returns after 6'2" or 6'5". Some like people would say that. You know the real reason that women rate those guys above 6'2", 6'5", whatever it is, lower than they rate guys who are 5'10" to 6'2", is because when men get taller, it's usually associated with growth hormone depositions in the face as well, which causes a long mid face. And on top of that, you have shitty proportions, you have horrible muscle insertions, and 99% of guys who are above 6'3", 6'4" are fucking twinks, and they're built like camel-faced, horse-nosed, and fag-jawed twinks. That's their build. If you adjust it for all of those things, height itself is never a diminishing return factor. In fact, these guys look a lot worse than guys who are on average in the 5'8", 5'9" range. Why do you think the guys that were in the 5'7" to 5'9" range still get rated lower than the guys who are like 6'5" and above, even with better faces? It's because the height is saving them big time, right? That's a huge halo. See, guys like Face IQ, they have long mid faces all the time. They have long mid faces all the time. They have shit jaws. You can, not really a shit jaw, but they lack angularity, which I have noticed a lot of tall guys, like really tall guys. Once you go past 6'2", you start seeing lack of definition and robusticity in the face. This is a fact. This is a fact on a large scale population basis. It's not the height itself that is causing the problem. So the point is, the ideal height for women is like 8 feet tall. There is no guy on earth who is 8 feet tall and doesn't look physically deformed. Let's get that clear. Or doesn't have shitty insertions. Or doesn't have, that is a 10 out of 10 in women's minds. Right? A man's 10 out of 10 can be a fucking BBW. You can see all of those subreddits filled with guys who actually genuinely love BBWs. They're not settling for it. They actually genuinely love it. And again, this is predicted by varying levels of testosterone in blood. It's actually quite proven that men who have lower testosterone levels actually prefer more facially masculine women. They prefer women who have smaller tits and shit like that. So a lot of times the 10 in a man's mind is not really an objective 10. She can be objectively unhealthy. She can be a fucking BBW, which is a health risk. And she can still be a 10 in some guy's mind, even though she's objectively like unhealthy and she's gonna have horrible children. This is just so messed up. It's one of those things you can really not make any reasonable you can't use reason here. This is what happens with guys, right? And the point I was trying to get across is, even these guys are objective 8.5s, 9s, they're not above a 7 in women's rating scales. This is how women rate men, right? See how few of these guys go above, like this was a sample of, if I'm not wrong, it was a pretty decent sized sample. It was a sample of like 400, if I'm not wrong, and this like 1 2 3 4 5 guys were above an 8, right? That is so rare. There is no guy who crosses the threshold of 9. No guy here crosses the threshold of 9. And look at this clustering that you see right here. Right, there's a peak who are like subhuman trash according to women. There's this second peak, which is most likely the ugly hot guys. And I think clavicular is rated around a 5 to 5.2 by women. Right? So the 45th percentile woman, let's be clear, the 45th percentile woman gets as much, if not slightly better freebies than clavicular does. Yes, are you going to get casual sex? Yes. Are you going to get some freebies? Yes. Are you going to get women who are going to ruin their lives to give you a better life, to give you a life that they themselves cannot earn, but only for you? No, that's not going to happen. Does this happen in the case of a lot of average women? Yes, there's historic proof that there have been guys who've stolen from their companies. There have been guys who have stolen from their banks, like they work for a fucking bank or something. They ruin their life. They are lied to by these women, and they get a single case, and they ruin their life over it. And afterwards, they fucking off themselves because they find out that this woman was lying to them all along. You know, even with guys like Alain Delon or Jeremy Meeks, these guys are at most bailed out of jail by strictly legal means, and they're given modeling contracts. They don't have these women actually killing their husbands. They don't have these women actually looting a bank for them. Now, people will say, but bro, this is only because men are more horny. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Yes, that is true. That is kind of true. But the difference is not so large that this cannot exist for women. The reason it doesn't exist for women, because the visceral response that a lot of men have for even the most average women or somewhat above average women. You know what? Another thing about this study is it doesn't really filter for BMI. If the BMI was all healthy women, the average young woman who's like 18 to 25 is not rated 5.5. So this is like, this average is out at like 5.5 to 5.7. The average woman who is in healthy weight category, she's above a 6 to most men. So those women are already getting all the attention that Chico Lachowski gets. There's a reason that Chico Lachowski makes one third or like even 10% of someone like what Adriana Lima makes. Women are not that horny for any guy that actually exists, but they have hypothetical uh, characters that they feel sexually attracted to. They would do that for it. The fact is, there are no guys who exist. There are not even those guys who exist whom women will do the same things that men do for these women, right? There are no tens, there are no nines in women's dictionary. There's at most someone like Chico is at most a 7 or a 7.2 when it comes to women, right? They will do a lot for him, but they're not going to do illegal activities for him. For men, a huge chunk of women are tens. Subjectively, even more women are tens according to a lot of men. They would fucking loot a bank for that woman, right? So if you think that women don't treat men that way, just check what the most good looking women men get from women in return versus what the best looking just sorry, let's just compare what the best looking men get from women versus what a mid woman gets from your regular dude, what they have historically done for those kinds of women. You'd get the idea that women don't have that visceral, I want to fuck this guy's brains out and I'm gonna fucking commit arson and commit crimes just to give this guy a better life. Women don't have that for even someone like a Jeremy Meeks or a Chico Lachowski, right? You have to digest this. You have to understand this. Yes, sure, soft looks maxing, hard looks maxing is going to get you to somewhere. It's going to get you to the point that you can get casual sex. It's going to get you the treatment that the average woman can get, right? You'd have average women willing to settle for you, right? The average woman has tons of average guys, even above average guys, willing to settle for them. You have not settle for them, but happy to be with them. If you are like Clavicula, you would have tons of Beckys who would be perfectly happy to be with you, right? Who would be perfectly happy to be with you, but they're not willing to do the most fucked up shit for you. You wouldn't have high tier women, legit nines and tens, willing to or even sevens and legit eights, your looks matches, willing to do that shit that the average guy is willing to do for the average woman in a lot of cases, right? So if you think that our ratings are harsh, brother, I mean, come on, man. Road to 1%, you are like one of the top 4 face raters of all time. Your new system is like a fucking genius, and you are acting like this. It makes no sense. This community is down in the drains. Now, you're getting some matches, you're getting 390 likes, you're getting, there's some bitch talking about how horny she is. Guess what? Guess what? A 5 out of 10 woman gets the same. A 5 out of 10 woman gets the same. To understand that whether or not you are really rated a 10 out of 10, you have to see if women are willing to commit crimes for you. Now, I know this might be clipped into a meme or something like this, but if women are not willing to commit crimes for you, then you are not a 10 out of 10 in their book. Chico Lachowski is not a 10 out of 10 in women's books. Clavicula is not a 10 out of 10 in women's books. That's a fact. Live with it. It's hard to digest, I know, but no amount of looks maxing is going to give you no amount of soft or hard looks maxing is going to give you the looks which gives that primal visceral desire from women which men have for women, right? It's not a symmetric thing. Yes, it's going to improve your life, but don't expect to get the same results that women get. So I'll leave you guys on this one.